I stood in the doorway of my son's old bedroom, the one he'd grown up in before moving out 15 years ago. His high school football jersey still hung on the wall. The coffee in my hand had gone cold an hour ago, but I kept holding it anyway. It gave me something to do with my hands. The house was too quiet. My wife Ellen had finally fallen asleep after crying herself exhausted. It had been 3 days since we buried Michael. 3 days since we laid our only son in the ground. The doctors called it suicide. Accidental overdose of his prescription anxiety medication mixed with alcohol. They said it happened sometimes with people under stress. Michael had been stressed, they said. His software company had been struggling. These things happen. But I knew my son. 35 years I'd known him. Watched him grow from a baby to a man. Michael didn't run from problems. He faced them head on. That's how I raised him. And he'd never mixed his medications with alcohol. Not once in the 2 years since his doctor prescribed them. I turned to leave the room when my phone buzzed. A text from Chris Halton, Michael's best friend since college. They'd been roommates at UT Austin, stayed close ever since. Tom, I need to talk to you. In person. Can I come by tomorrow morning? Don't mention this to Vanessa. Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, Michael's wife of 3 years. I stared at that last sentence. Don't mention this to Vanessa. Why would Chris say that? I texted back. Come by at 8 a.m. Ellen will be at her sister's. Chris responded immediately. Thank you. This is important. I set the phone down and looked back at Michael's room. Something wasn't right. I'd felt it at the funeral. The way Vanessa had cried, but her hands never shook. The way she'd accepted condolences with perfect composure. The way she'd already been talking about selling the house, just 2 days after. I walked to the kitchen window and looked out at the dark street. A cold feeling settled in my chest, heavier than grief. Tomorrow, I'd find out what Chris knew. Chris arrived exactly at 8. I'd been up since 5, unable to sleep, watching the sunrise over the fence line. I poured him coffee, and we sat at the kitchen table. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, beard unkempt. Chris was usually meticulous about his appearance. Thanks for seeing me, Tom. His voice was rough. What's this about, Chris? He pulled out his phone, set it on the table between us. 2 weeks before Michael died, he called me. Late at night. He was scared, Tom. I'd never heard him like that. My hands tightened around my mug. Scared of what? He said he'd discovered something about Vanessa. Something bad. He wouldn't tell me details over the phone. Said he needed to gather more evidence first. But he asked me to do something. What? Chris tapped his phone. He asked me to keep a backup of everything he was sending me. Files, documents, photos. He said if anything happened to him, I should show them to you. The cold feeling in my chest turned to ice. If anything happened to him, those were his exact words. Chris's hands were shaking now. Tom, I didn't think. I thought he was just being paranoid. Michael could be intense sometimes, you know? When he got focused on solving a problem, I figured this was just another one of his projects. But then he died. Yeah, Chris looked down. I went to the police yesterday. Showed them everything Michael sent me. They said without proof of foul play, it's just speculation. The autopsy showed high levels of his anxiety medication mixed with alcohol. Case closed. Accidental overdose. Maybe suicide. I stood up, paced to the window. Show me what Michael sent you. Chris opened his phone, pulled up a folder. It's a lot. Financial records, mostly, and photos, and one video. Start with the video. He turned the phone toward me and pressed play. Michael's face filled the screen. He looked exhausted, sitting in his car. It was dark outside, street lights visible through the window. Chris, if you're watching this, it means I was right to be worried. Michael's voice cracked slightly. I found something about Vanessa, something she's been hiding since before we got married. I confronted her about it tonight, and she didn't deny it. She got angry, defensive, said I had no right to go through her things. Michael ran his hand through his hair, the same gesture he'd done since he was a kid when he was anxious. I'm scared, man. Not of what I found, but of how she reacted. She threatened me. Actual threats. Said if I told anyone or tried to leave her, I'd regret it. She said I'd lose everything. The house, the business, My reputation. She knows things about me, Chris. Things I told her in confidence. Private things. And she'll use them. Michael looked directly at the camera. I'm backing up everything to you. Financial records showing where money's been going. Photos of evidence I found. I need you to keep this safe. If something happens to me, show this to my dad. He'll know what to do. The video ended. I had to sit down. My legs felt weak. There's more, Chris said quietly. He opened a file on his phone. These are screenshots of bank transactions from Vanessa's accounts. Michael somehow got access to them. I looked at the screen. Transfers. Dozens of them. Small amounts. $50 here, $100 there, but frequent. Almost daily. All going to the same account. Who's the recipient? Michael didn't know. But look at this. Chris swiped to another image. This is from Vanessa's credit card statements. Medical bills. Lots of them. All from different clinics across Texas. Austin, Houston, San Antonio. What kind of medical bills? Prescriptions. Pain medications, mostly. Oxycodone, Vicodin, Xanax. Different doctors, different pharmacies. Michael thought she was doctor shopping. My mind raced. Vanessa's addicted to pills? That's what Michael believed. And he found something else. Chris opened another file. Photos. Michael took these in their garage, hidden behind storage boxes. The photos showed small orange pill bottles. Dozens of them. All with different names. Different prescriptions. This is a felony, I said. If she's getting prescriptions fraudulently, Michael was going to report her. He told me that in his last phone call. He'd talked to a lawyer. He was filing for divorce and planned to report her to the police and the state pharmacy board. When was this? 5 days before he died. I closed my eyes. 5 days. My son had discovered his wife was a drug addict, confronted her, threatened to report her and divorce her, and 5 days later, he was dead. Chris, why didn't you come forward sooner? I didn't know. His voice broke. Michael sent me all this stuff, but I didn't look at it carefully. He sent it in the middle of the night. I was traveling for work. I glanced at it, figured I'd review it later when I had time. Then I got the call that Michael was dead, and I forgot about it. I was grieving. It wasn't until yesterday that I remembered the files and actually went through them. I stood up again. My whole body felt hot with rage. The police won't look into this? They said it's circumstantial. That addiction doesn't prove murder. That Michael could have overdosed accidentally. That there's no evidence Vanessa forced him to take the pills. So what do we do? Chris looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Michael said you'd know what to do. That you'd fight for him. I thought of my son. Of the baby I'd held in my arms 35 years ago. The boy who'd broken his arm falling out of a tree and didn't cry. The teenager who'd worked construction with me every summer to save for college. The man who'd called me every Sunday without fail. Forward me everything, I said. Every file Michael sent you. Tom, what are you going to do? I'm going to prove that woman killed my son. The first thing I did was call my nephew, Jake. He'd been a private investigator for 15 years, worked mostly insurance fraud cases. When I explained the situation, he agreed to help immediately. Uncle Tom, I need to be honest with you. The police are right that this is circumstantial, but that doesn't mean we can't find more evidence. It just means we have to be smart about it. We met at a diner off I-35. I brought my laptop with all the files Chris had sent. Jake spent an hour reviewing everything, taking notes. Okay, he finally said. Here's what we know. Vanessa has a prescription drug problem. She's been doctor shopping for at least 2 years, maybe longer. Michael discovered this and confronted her. 5 days later, he's dead from an overdose of his own medication. The question is, can we prove she gave him the pills? She had access to his medication, I said. They lived together. Right. But we need more than access. We need to show intent and opportunity. Let me dig into Vanessa's background. Sometimes addicts have a pattern. Maybe she's been involved in something like this before. Over the next week, Jake worked his contacts. He pulled records, made calls, followed leads. I spent every day in that diner, my laptop open, going through Michael's files again and again. Ellen knew something was wrong. I told her I was helping settle Michael's estate, which wasn't entirely a lie. But I couldn't tell her my suspicions yet, not until I had proof. She'd already lost her son. I wouldn't put her through more pain unless I was certain. Vanessa called me twice that week. Asked about Michael's life insurance policy. Asked when we'd be clearing out his home office because she wanted to move forward with her healing. I made excuses. Told her we needed time. On day 8, Jake called me. "Uncle Tom, I found something. Can you meet me?" We met at the same diner. Jake had a folder with him, thick with papers. Vanessa Thompson, before she married Michael and became Vanessa Morrison. I went back through her history. Guess what her job was 8 years ago? What? Pharmacy technician. She worked at a CVS in Houston for 2 years. My breath caught. She got fired, Jake continued. Officially for attendance issues, but I talked to her old manager. Off the record, he said there was a discrepancy in the narcotics inventory. They suspected she was stealing pills, but they couldn't prove it. She quit before they could investigate fully, so she knows how to access medications. More than that, she knows how to cover her tracks. But she made a mistake. Jake pulled out another document. I requested Michael's full medical records. His prescription for anxiety medication was filled 2 weeks before he died. 30 pills, 1 month's supply. Take one daily as needed. Okay. The autopsy showed he had enough in his system to equal about 15 pills, combined with alcohol. That's a massive dose. But here's the thing. I checked with the pharmacy. His prescription was filled, picked up by Michael personally, signed for. But when the police inventoried the house after his death, they found the bottle in the bathroom medicine cabinet. Empty. He'd used all 30 pills in 2 weeks? That's what it looked like? But that's not how anxiety medication works. You don't just take 15 pills at once. It would make you violently ill before it killed you. You'd vomit them up. Unless someone crushed them and mixed them into something. I finished. Exactly. Dissolved in alcohol, maybe. Michael's stomach contents showed he'd consumed alcohol that evening. Wine, specifically. The police found an empty wine bottle in the recycling. I felt sick. Vanessa poisoned his wine. That's my theory. But we can't prove it. The wine bottle was discarded. No way to test it now. What about the empty pill bottle? Fingerprints? Police didn't test it. They had no reason to. It looked like suicide or accidental overdose. His pills, his bottle, his fingerprints on it. But Tom. Jake leaned forward. I found something else. Michael's laptop. The police returned his personal effects to Vanessa last week. But before they did, I have a friend in the department who made a copy of the hard drive for me. Unofficial? Understand? What's on it? Jake pulled out a USB drive. Michael's browser history from the day he died. He was researching divorce lawyers. He drafted an email to one, explaining his situation. Never sent it. But here's what's interesting. There are gaps in his activity that day. His laptop shows he was active until about 6 p.m., then nothing until 8:30 p.m., then one final burst of activity at 8:45. He accessed his banking website, made a large transfer of funds to a separate account Vanessa didn't have access to, like he was trying to protect his money. And then, nothing. Laptop goes dark. Time of death was estimated between 9 and 10 p.m. based on body temperature and rigor mortis. I processed this. So, in that window between 8:45 and 9, something happened. I think Vanessa came home, they argued. She'd already prepared the wine. She convinced him to have a drink, maybe to talk things through. He drank it, didn't know it was poisoned. By 9 p.m., he would have been unconscious. By 10, dead. We need to prove this, Jake nodded slowly. There might be a way, but it's risky, and you'd have to be willing to do something the police can't. What? We need Vanessa to confess. We need to make her think she's safe, that no one suspects anything. Then we need to get her talking. How? Jake looked at me seriously. You wear a wire. You tell her you know everything. You push her buttons. You make her angry enough or scared enough that she slips up. One admission, one statement that shows guilty knowledge. That's all we need. She'll never talk to me if she thinks I'm investigating. Then don't let her think that. You're just a grieving father who's found some concerning documents while settling his son's estate. You're confused. You need her help understanding them. Play it right, and she'll either have to lie, which we can disprove, or she'll defend herself, which might make her reveal something incriminating. I thought about it. Thought about Michael. About his face in that video, scared and desperate. About how he'd trusted Vanessa, married her, built a life with her, and she'd killed him for it. Set it up, I said. I'll do whatever it takes. 3 days later, I sat in Jake's car outside Vanessa's house. Our house, technically. Michael had put both their names on the deed. She lived there now, alone, in the house my son had died in. I wore a small recording device under my shirt. Jake had tested it 3 times. It would pick up everything. Remember, Jake said, keep her talking. Ask open-ended questions. Don't accuse directly. Let her explain. People who are guilty tend to over-explain. I nodded and got out of the car. Vanessa answered the door in yoga pants and a sweater. She looked surprised to see me. Tom, I wasn't expecting you. I'm sorry to drop by unannounced. Can I come in? I found some things while going through Michael's accounts. I'm confused about them. Her face flickered, something passed behind her eyes, but she smiled and opened the door wider. Of course. Come in. The house smelled different. She'd gotten rid of Michael's cologne scent. Burned vanilla candles instead. It made me angry. We sat in the living room. I pulled out a folder, set it on the coffee table. I've been settling Michael's estate, I began, going through his financial records. And I found these bank statements, large amounts of money being transferred out of his accounts over the past 2 years, to an account I don't recognize. I watched her face carefully. Oh, she said. Her voice was light, unconcerned. Those were probably transfers to our savings account. We were saving to buy a bigger house. That's what I thought at first. But this account isn't in Michael's name, or yours. It's registered to someone named V. Thompson. Her smile froze. I don't know anything about that. V. Thompson. That's your maiden name, isn't it? Vanessa Thompson? Tom, I really don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out another document. I also found medical bills, dozens of them, different doctors across Texas, all prescribing pain medications, all billed to Michael's insurance. Her face had gone pale. Those aren't mine. They have your name on them, Vanessa. She stood up abruptly. I think you should leave. Just help me understand. If these aren't yours, how did they get charged to Michael's insurance? I don't know. Maybe someone stole my identity. For 2 years? While you were married to Michael? That seems unlikely. She wrapped her arms around herself. Why are you doing this? Michael just died. Can't you let us grieve in peace? Us? There's no us anymore, Vanessa. Michael's dead. Don't you think I know that? Her voice rose. Don't you think I'm suffering? I lost my husband. Did you? I stood up too, because Michael sent files to Chris. Video, photos, documents. He knew about the pills, Vanessa. He knew you were doctor shopping. He knew about the money you were stealing from his accounts. Her face crumpled. For a moment, I thought she was going to cry. But then her expression hardened. He had no right to go through my private medical information. He had every right. You were stealing from him. You're an addict. I'm not an addict, she shouted it. I have chronic pain. I need those medications. Chronic pain from what? There's nothing in your medical history showing any injury or condition that would require that level of medication. You don't know anything about my life, about what I deal with. I know my son was going to report you to the police. I know he was filing for divorce. And I know 5 days later, he died from an overdose of his own medication. The room went quiet. Vanessa stared at me, her chest heaving. What are you saying? Her voice was dangerous now. I'm saying it's an interesting coincidence. You think I killed him. It wasn't a question. Did you? Get out of my house. It was Michael's house. He bought it before you were married. Get out. The thing is, Vanessa, I've been looking into your background. I know you used to work at a pharmacy. I know you were fired for suspected theft of narcotics. I know you know exactly how to access medications, how to dose them, how to cover your tracks. You can't prove anything, she said it quietly, but with certainty. Maybe not yet. But I will. And when I do, When you do what? She laughed, bitter and harsh. You think the police will care? They already ruled it an accident. Case closed. Michael overdosed because he was depressed about his failing business and his failing marriage. That's the official story. His marriage was failing because of you. His marriage was failing because he couldn't let things go. She was yelling again. He found a few pill bottles and acted like I was some kind of criminal. I needed those medications. But did he care? No. He threatened me, said he'd destroy my life, take everything from me, report me to the pharmacy board so I could never work again. So you decided to destroy his life instead. I didn't. She stopped, caught herself, but it was too late. I'd heard it in her voice, the admission hiding behind the denial. You didn't what, Vanessa? Didn't mean to kill him? Didn't think he'd actually die? What didn't you do? Her hands were shaking now. I want you to leave, right now. Michael called you a monster. Did you know that? In his video to Chris, he said living with you was like living with a stranger, that the woman he married didn't exist. Shut up. He was scared of you. My son, who never showed fear in his life, was terrified of his own wife. Shut up. You poisoned him, put those pills in his wine, crushed them up so he wouldn't taste them, watched him drink it, watched him die. He gave me no choice, she screamed it. He was going to take everything, the house, the money, my license, my life. He was going to destroy me over some stupid pills. I built a life with him. I gave him 3 years, and he was going to throw it all away because of a few prescriptions. I stood very still. So you killed him. The rage drained out of her face. She realized what she'd said. No, I didn't mean. You just confessed, Vanessa. That's not. I was emotional. You cornered me. I didn't. You said he gave you no choice. You said he was going to destroy you. Those are your words. She backed away from me. You're twisting what I said. Am I? Her eyes darted to the door, then back to me. Who else knows you're here? Does it matter? Are you recording this? Her voice rose in pitch. You're recording this, aren't you? You son of a bitch. You came here to trap me. I came here to learn the truth about my son's death. You just gave it to me. She lunged at me. I hadn't expected it. Her hands grabbed at my shirt, searching for the wire. I pushed her back, and she stumbled, hitting the coffee table. Tom, please. Her voice changed, became pleading. Please don't do this. I didn't mean to hurt him. It was an accident. I just wanted him to calm down, to stop threatening me. I gave him the wine to help him relax. I didn't know. Didn't know what? That crushing 15 anxiety pills into wine would kill him? I thought he'd just sleep. I thought we could talk in the morning when he was calmer. I didn't know it would. The front door burst open. Detective Morris walked in, followed by 2 uniformed officers. Vanessa Morrison, you're under arrest for the murder of Michael Morrison. She looked at me, betrayal and rage in her eyes. You set me up. You killed my son. As they handcuffed her and read her rights, she kept screaming. It was self-defense. He threatened me. He was going to ruin my life. They led her out to the patrol car. I stood in the doorway, watching them drive away. Jake appeared beside me. He'd been parked down the street, listening to the recording in real time, coordinating with the detective. You got her, he said quietly. Yeah. You okay? I thought about that. Was I okay? My son was still dead. Vanessa in prison wouldn't bring him back. But at least there would be justice. At least the truth was known. No, I said honestly. But I will be. The trial took 8 months. Vanessa's lawyer tried to claim coercion, that I trapped her into a false confession. But the recording was clear. Her own words convicted her. The prosecution presented everything. Michael's files, the video he'd sent to Chris, Vanessa's history of prescription fraud, the financial records showing she'd stolen over $40,000 from Michael's accounts, the timeline showing motive and opportunity. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty of second-degree murder. Vanessa got 25 years to life, but parole eligibility in 50. I visit Michael's grave every Sunday. Ellen comes with me now. She knows everything. When I finally told her the truth, after Vanessa was arrested, she cried for 2 days. Then she got angry. Then she got involved. She attended every court hearing. She testified about Michael's character, about how he'd never have overdosed accidentally, about how he called her the day before he died and told her he was filing for divorce. Ellen was the one who suggested we start a foundation, the Michael Morrison Foundation for Prescription Drug Safety and Abuse Prevention. We used the money Vanessa stole, recovered during the trial, and returned to Michael's estate to fund it. We speak at schools, community centers, anywhere that will listen. We talk about the warning signs of prescription drug abuse. We talk about how to protect yourself from people who would harm you. We talk about Michael. Chris visits us once a month. He still carries guilt that he didn't review Michael's files sooner. I tell him it's not his fault. Michael wouldn't have wanted him to blame himself. But some nights, I lie awake and think about the what-ifs. What if Michael had called me instead of Chris? What if he'd left Vanessa the first time he suspected something was wrong? What if I'd noticed something, anything, that could have saved him? Ellen says, I can't think that way, that we can't change the past, that all we can do is honor Michael's memory by helping others. She's right. I know she's right. But it doesn't make it hurt less. I still set a place for Michael at Sunday dinner, his favorite chair at the table. I know it's probably not healthy, but I don't care. Ellen doesn't say anything about it. She understands. Last week, a young man came to speak at one of our foundation events. His wife had been secretly abusing prescription medications. He'd found out, confronted her, and because of our resources and guidance, he was able to get her into treatment. She's been clean for 6 months now. They're rebuilding their marriage. He thanked me with tears in his eyes. Said Michael's story saved his family. That night, I went to the cemetery, stood at Michael's grave in the darkness. Did you hear that, son? I said to the headstone. Your story saved someone, saved a marriage, maybe saved a life. The wind rustled through the oak trees overhead. I'm so sorry I couldn't save you. Every day, I wish I could go back. Wish I'd known sooner. Wish I'd stopped. I knelt down, touched the cold granite, but I got her. I made sure she paid for what she did to you. And I'm making sure other people don't suffer like you did, like we did. That's my promise to you. Every single day, I'll honor your memory by helping someone else. I stayed there until the cemetery security guard came and told me they were closing for the night. As I walked back to my truck, my phone buzzed. A text from Ellen. Dinner's ready. Your place is set. Michael's too. I climbed into the truck and sat there for a moment, looking back at the cemetery through the rearview mirror. Someday, the pain would be less sharp. Someday, I'd be able to think about Michael without feeling like my chest was being crushed. Someday, I'd accept that he was gone and not coming back. But not today. Today, I'd drive home to Ellen. I'd eat dinner at a table set for 3. I'd tell her about the young man whose family we'd helped. I'd hold her hand while she cried. And tomorrow, I'd wake up and do it all over again. Because that's what you do when you lose someone you love to violence and betrayal. You keep going. You fight for justice. You honor their memory. And you never, ever let the people who hurt them get away with it. That's what fathers do. That's what I did for Michael. And I do it again 1,000 times over.